Shabbos, Rabbi.
Good Shabbos, Bruce. Happy New Year. Hi, Sheila.
Happy New Year to you.
We're doing it.
It's going to be a little warmer New Year.
A little warmer indeed. Oh, it's working. Good. Yeah, I got a sweater. This sweater was actually my Zadie's. It's his yard site, so I wore his sweater and his kippah at his house. Oh, sorry. Hello. The live stream is on. We are nothing if not a daring group, certainly. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, y'all. Well, can you put this maybe under your chair? Sure. Actually, you can put it up front. I have more leg room here.
Well, I don't get the distance from you, and I really don't get the distance from Sheila because we were together all afternoon. With double masks on. Yeah. Ay. I love your skirt.
Thank you so much.
Is that a dress or a skirt?
It's a skirt, yeah.
Beautiful. It works so beautifully with your sweater.
Oh, thank you.
It's an ensemble.
Thanks. Yes, an ensemble. You know, I like a look. Oh, I'm so glad you like
Yes,
it.
do I.
Yes, that I know. Well, we're having a little trouble with the Zoom, but the live Zoom is not working, but the live stream does seem to be working. So I'm just gonna check one more time, and we'll start. Okay. Okay. Da da dee da da da. Okay.
Yeah, I did the last one. I couldn't get my microphone to work very well. And then I do the yeah, normally I write back. If we're talking about years of father's day. Yeah, I really do it. It's interesting. I think they were talking about possibly doing So Becky, where do you work at Long Island Cook? It's called MTV Wealth Coaches. I'm a service director, so I do like paperwork. Really like advisor for like wealth.
Okay, just let it go.
Okay, so you travel a little bit. I was in Rochester Hills today. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's not too bad this time of day, like probably maybe 25 minutes.
Just let it go. Just let it go and set yourself free.
No, she doesn't.
All right, I think we're going to start. They got the Zoom situation figured out. We're good to go. I am the tech person this evening, so as you can see, we decided one of the ways that we would continue to do this is by not asking anybody to do any jobs, just like keep it small and everybody can be safe in whatever way is best for them. So I have my phone on the pulpit, but only if there's a tech issue, not for answering phone calls unless it's God, in which case I'll let you know. We're going to begin this evening with Oziv Zimrat Yah, which is on page 6. You are my strength and my song and my salvation. Oziv Zimrat Yah, Vayehi li Lishua. Oziv Zimrat Yah, Vayehi Lishua, Ozi, Vezimrat Yah, Vayehili Lishua, Ozi, Vezimrat Yah, Vayehili Lishua, Ozi, Vezimrat Yah, Vayehili Lishua. I am so glad to be back in the sanctuary. I hope the last 2 weeks were meaningful and cozy for all of you. We had a last-minute change of plans, and I'm sure many people did. Our family wasn't able to get together, and I think that's the case for a lot of us right now. And being together makes me feel like we can get through this. We're gonna be okay. So I'm just going to keep singing that, Ozi v'zimrat Yah, God, you are my strength, everything's going to be fine. That's what I keep having to tell myself, because I think it's true. And it's a good reminder. Yeah, that's also my job too, I would like to sing Shalom Aleichem, which is on page 10 before we light the candles. 10. Yeah, this is, this is the week of my Zadie's yahrzeit, and as you all know, he's like a super influential person in my life. And later on in their lives, my Bubby and Zadie, my grandparents, used to, if they were just home, just the two of them for Shabbat, they would still do everything. And it turned out that they were singing Shalom Aleichem before they lit the candles. And I like that, so I'm going to use that tradition this evening. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharetz, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sages, would you be willing to come light the candles? Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so happy y'all are here. You can come too?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I know it's not traditionally done.
You know the words.
Well,
Shir Tikvah.
Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Good Shabbos.
Thank you.
Good Shabbos. Thank you both. we're going to continue with Lecha Dodi on page 14. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litchila Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor habracha Merosh mikadam nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla Hitorari Kiva orech kumiori Uri shir daberi Kevod Adonai alayich nila Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla. We rise as we welcome the Shabbat spirit into our midst. Boi v'shalom ateret b'hala Gam besimcha u'sohola Toch emunah am segula Boi chala Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla. We're going to continue on page 16 with Tzaddik Tamar, which is an excerpt from Psalm 92. Tzaddik Tamar, we often sing this. Oh no, just kidding. That's a different one. This is comparing the righteous to the palm tree and the way in which we can flourish. And, Tu B'Shvat, of course, is coming right up, so figures it's appropriate to sort of get a tree metaphor into our Shabbos worship this evening. Tzaddik Tamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yizkar shetulim beveit Adonai v'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichun od yanun beseva deshenim vera'ananim yechu lehagid ki ashar Adonai are going to continue with the Chatzi Kaddish, which is on 17, which separates the pieces of our service. I'm sure I say this every time, but one of the reasons that I like liturgy so much and I like prayer so much is because there is a structure, and it also gives us time to think our own thoughts. So the structure here is that we sing these psalms and then we sing Chatzi Kaddish, which is on 17. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divarach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Ba'agala uv'izman kariv V'yimeru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Alal Me'omaya Yidbarach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitalel Shemei Dekudesha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru amen. Please rise for the Baruch Hu. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We're going to continue at the top of page 20. Somewhere at the fringes of night, the shadows of darkness soften, and earth comes alive with hints of light. And my heart fills with fresh, bright hope, and the world stirs to give birth to color. Colors are secrets not seen in the dark. Like the promise of God when darkness is visible, Creator, you who bring dawn from the darkness, break the used goblets of my yesterdays. Let me find wisdom in the shards and grow in knowledge of your eternal presence. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Almighty One, who makes the evenings fall. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadata, Otanu lemadata. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'kumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki chem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem neged v'layla, neke yom v'layla. V'achavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Le'olam, Le'olam Vayed. So there's this teaching about the V'ahavta that you're supposed to say the words. I'm sure I don't remember. I'm sure I've said this before. You're supposed to say the words in a way that your heart can understand, because the first word of V'ahavta is V'ahavta, and you shall love. And I think all of our souls speak differently. But, we just sang Ahavat Olam, which is like there's an unending love for us, and this is about our love for God, and understanding those words. So as we're chanting them, I invite you to also think about the English, if that's the language that your heart speaks, or perhaps a different language, and in which case I admire you for being bilingual, or in the Hebrew. We'll join together. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. Ani Adonai Elohechem. We're going to continue with Mi Chamocha on the next page, 25. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osefele, Nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei al yam lifnei Moshe. Zeh Elianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch, Adonai imloch, Le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar kifata Adonai ad Yaakov, ugalo miyad hazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. We're going to pray in English together in the middle of page 26, that Hashkivenu. If you would join me. Help us to lie down, Adonai our God, in peace, and let us rise again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Decree for us a worthy daily lot, and redeem us for the sake of your great name, and enfold us in the wings of your protection, for you are our redeeming guardian. Truly a sovereign, gracious, and compassionate God are you. Guard our going forth each day for life and peace, now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, who spreads your canopy of peace over all your people Israel and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. I am on the top of page 51 for the Amidah. If you'd like to join me, please rise. Adonai sefatai titachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'imahot, U'mei Gula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh Hakol atah Rab L'Oshiach. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh Hakol Berachamim Rabim. Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishaynei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Geburot, Umido Melech, Melech Menit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shemcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahaluch hatzela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh. We're going to continue with Vishamru on page 55. You can feel free to be seated. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We're now going to take a few moments for some silent prayer and reflection. There are words, of course, to say on the next several pages, or the words of your heart. We will join together in just a few moments. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol eit ubechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Well, my friends, this week's portion, we're really in the thick of it. We are in Bo in Exodus. Bo means means come or go. Depends on how it's used. This situation, we're in some of the plagues. Pharaoh is still not having it with the people. And then in the middle of the story of the plagues is the story of Passover and how the Jews are supposed to celebrate it and what they're supposed to it says it's like very, very specific. Like you get a lamb, here's how you do it. It doesn't really mention anything about the matzah thing that comes a little later. The addition of the the matzah is eaten because it's in a hurry. This is much more about the sacrificial situation. And, you know, as I was reading and studying this afternoon, I was thinking a lot about this because this whole chapter is this whole parsha is a very embodied piece of our Torah. And I think about Judaism as a very embodied practice. What do I mean by that? What I mean is it is really within our bodies. Like, we do things, we have special rituals, we do things that coordinate with the time of the year, of the seasons. We do things like we use our hands to wrap ourselves in our talitot. Like, Judaism lives within us. And so one of the other pieces, so, you know, as I'm reading the story, but it does talk about, it sort of reminded me about the story about my Zadie, of course, because that's sort of the week that we're in. So I'd like to just, if you'll indulge me. So at my Bubby and Zadie's house, my Bubby and Zadie are Yiddish grandparents, and they used to do something called that you may have done growing up or continue to do, called Bidikat Hametz, which is the night before Passover. You're supposed to go through the house and like look for the hametz, for the hametz, and it has become the custom to use like a feather duster and a candle. You're supposed to do it by candlelight, and you like sweep it up, and then the next morning you're supposed to say some blessings and burn this. It's supposed to be the last bit of chametz in your house. Now, I think originally the idea was like you go around and you get all the crumbs up, right? Like anything, like you may have missed it. But what my grandparents used to do, and you might do also, is like place little pieces of bread around places in the house that it wouldn't necessarily go, because you want to make sure, like, it's such an interactive experience. The physicality of that sweeping of the breadcrumbs into the dustpan, and then what we used to do is put it in some aluminum foil and then or some newspaper, and take it out and burn it the next morning. But it talks about this. It talks about how, and this is like a practice within the home. And the thing I love about Passover so much is that it's such a home-centered holiday. And in this parsha, it talks about you're supposed to get a lamb, and you're supposed to share it with the other families, and here's what you do with the blood on the door, and here's how you make sure that everybody gets to eat it, and you have to eat it roasted. You should eat it in a certain way, and you have to roast it, and you have to do these things, and this is how you cook it. And it's one of the things that I appreciate so much. It's like this memory of going around and sweeping up these breadcrumbs, like finding them and sweeping them up. And I just think about how, what a physicality we have in our Judaism, right? So as I'm talking to you, I have on my Zadie's talit and his kippah, both of which are physical representations of something greater, right? The fringes on this talit is beautiful, of course, and it even says his name in Hebrew on it. But the thing that a talit is supposed to do is have 4 corners of knots, which represents the 613 commandments. It all adds up to, right? And you're supposed to wrap yourself in it. And in this parsha at the very end, it talks about keeping the commandments between your forehead. Like we just chanted in the V'ahavta, the idea of, bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let the words be a symbol between your eyes. Lehitate, like, it's like, it's this idea of having this embodied practice. And so as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about all of the things that we do at home and everything that we do in our bodies that makes us practicing Judaism. And at the same, so it's like these two stories, right? Like this is happening. We're getting here's how you sacrifice. Here's what Passover is supposed to do. Here's what's going to happen. God's going to pass over your doorstep, etc. And then we're also getting the 6th and 7th plagues, I believe, or 7th and 8th plagues. And Pharaoh is still a no-go, right? He is cold. God hardens Pharaoh's heart. It's not that Pharaoh says no. It's like Pharaoh's like, okay, you can go, and then changes his mind because God makes that happen. And what a physical experience all these like locusts and stuff were. Just like another way that we think about the story. And every year I think about that. Of course we think about it at Passover, and I think about it as we're reading it, this idea of this physical manifestation of what Judaism can look like for us. So I think this week, as we're going through the week, we're thinking about, first of all, I don't know about you all, but like when I step out of my home, I'm like ginger, right? Because there's ice on the ground, and you don't want, the physical movement of leaving the house. And I'm just thinking a lot about what that means to have Judaism embodied in our lives, like what it means to take the effort to take those steps, just like you're taking the effort to like take careful steps when you're outside right now, which I hope you're at least getting around the block a little. It's icy, so maybe don't, but yeah. And I can just smell, and then there's the pieces of the body that are in the sense memory, the smell and the taste and the textures and I can smell the burning newspaper and the burning bread in the next morning, and I bet that Jews who roasted a whole lamb, like that smell, that's also a piece of our embodied practice. And I also like what it means to show up physically for an experience. So I've been thinking about those things a lot. And feeling very grateful for it, right? Because sometimes the embodiment of the practice, even when you're not feeling like it, helps you to remember why, right? It helps us to remember, helps me I can't speak for you, it helps me to remember why I do this. Just like the physical something reminds me of somebody. So this week, I hope you'll take that kind of embodiment, the idea that Judaism lives within you, to heart, and sort of think about ways in which you can grow your spiritual practice through that sort of connection to your own body. It's not easy to do, but a super beautiful thing a unique thing that we have in Judaism. So I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. I hope you're all warm. That's the big one. I hope your bodies stay warm. So we're now going to turn to the Misha Berach prayer, our prayer for healing. Speaking of bodies being embodied, we are praying for the healing of body and spirit. Many of our beloved friends, Mary Haller, Linda Prentice, Steve and Sharon Burns, Martin Bernstein, Mike Ingber, Barbara Saul, Suzanne Kovacs, and Doreen Billett. Is there anybody else that you're praying Misha Berach for this evening? Thank you. Thank you. Rivka Bat Shoshana. Just give us a moment to gather ourselves, and our friends who are online, I invite you to share those names too in your homes. Say them out loud, embody them. The Misha Berach prayer is found on page 67. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Bekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We are going to continue with Aleinu, which is on page 74. If you would please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עצר מגויי הרצות, ולא זמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Please be seated. I'm on page 77. God is there. The Holy One appears when one thing ends and another begins. A baby is born, a child becomes an adult, an old person dies. One enters a room, one leaves a room. One sets out on a journey. Baruch atah bevoecha ubaruch atah b'tzeitchecha. Blessed may you be in your coming out, and blessed may you be in your going in. God is there, in the spaces between, reminding us that we have all along been destined to live forever, ascending ever higher spirals of awareness and chambers of light, allowing us to remember what has gone before. Now we are able to hang on to the thread that binds one life awareness to the next, returning finally and again beings of pure light. The Kaddish is not a prayer for the dead, it is a prayer for the living. It does not mention death. It mentions only life and the author of life. As we pray the Kaddish, we recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us. We are in a period of Shiva for Suzanne Yesnick, the sister of Margie Starr, and in a period of Shloshim for Kathy Whitko, wife of Ed Whitko and our beloved CST congregant, and Mira Hoffman, niece of Arlene Shaw. We also think of those who died at this season in years past. This week, we recall the yahrzeits of May Robbins, mother of Wendy Robbins, Hal Weber II, brother of Shay Bukema, Gertrude Katzman, mother of Sarah Katzman, Rosalie Isola, mother of Andy Isola, Herman Kaplan, father of Helen Wilson Zahorek, and Reuben Harris, father of David Harris and Michael Harris, and my beloved Zadie. We join together in the Kaddish Shatom. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we affirm the goodness of life. Please rise. Yitkadal v'kadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divarach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, Yitzhadar, Yitzaleh, Yitzhalal, Shemei Dekudasha, Brichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May the source of peace bring peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, here and everywhere, to which we say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru. Shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Please be seated. So, I don't have the announcements in front of me, but if you're new and online, we welcome you, and we are glad you are with us. And if you're interested in learning more about our programs or other things, or joining us, please email Shir, info, it's okay, I got it, info@shirtikvah.org, and Lorelei can send you all of, our executive director, Lorelei Berg, can send you all the information you might want. Tu B'Shvat, Tat Shabbat is happening tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., and that will be virtual. Some of our littles can't get vaccinated yet, so we want to make sure that we're really safe. We're going to have a good time, sing some songs about trees, learn about trees, celebrate the birthday of the trees in the dead of winter, which is hilarious. But, it makes sense in the long run. So if you want to learn about that, join us tomorrow morning. And then this Sunday, we are going to be virtual as well for Family Ed. At 9:30, we have services, and then classes will look out for, you should have gotten already an email when your classes will be happening, because we have to stagger some things a little bit because of the Zoom rooms and whatever, but it's going to be great. We've done it before, and we're going to be okay doing it again for a little while, just at least for this week. And then we're going to play it week by week and see what happens. We just want to be safe and make sure that everybody is taken care of. So I think, thank you. Oh, thank you, Karen. God, Tuesday is Lunch and Learn. You will get an email about the topic probably on Sunday or Monday. I'm still sort of figuring out what this year is going to look like. So look out on your emails for that. It will be fun. We always have a good time. That will also be virtual this week. And then does Sisterhood have a book club with stuff coming up, or is that at the end of the month? All right. Okay. I usually have a list of announcements, but I didn't print it out. It's my fault. But those are the things that are happening. It's very exciting around here, as always. So also go to shirtikvah.org if you have questions or things you want to learn about. We're so glad you're here. Shabbat shalom. We are going to continue. We're going to conclude our service this evening with Adon Olam, which is on page 80. Actually, we're going to do In Keloheinu, which is on page 82. And then we'll do the Kiddush and the Motzi. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Kadonenu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. So, one of the great, I have there's a lot of great things about being a rabbi, but one of the greatest is that I have been able to bring the Reuben Harris version of the Kiddush here with me. The version that I do every week comes from him. And you could, every time I do it, I close my eyes and I can just see him, and he would stand and he would welcome everybody from the furthest distance to the closest distance away. So he would say, welcome to those of you from Pittsburgh and to those of you from Forest Park, which was down the street. He was such a goofy and wonderful and loving guy, and also took singing and Judaism very seriously, which explains part of how I got to this moment. So when I get to do the Kiddush in the sanctuary where I get to be the privilege of being the rabbi here, it just it fills my heart with joy, and I can just see him and my bubby sitting at the table with all of my uncles and my cousins and my brother and my whole family, and I can just hear their voices in my head, and I feel really grateful for that. So thank you for giving me that privilege of being able to bring them with me. I am proud of myself because I know how proud they would be. So if you'll join me for Kiddush on page 87. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zigaron l'maaseh bereishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziad Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinachaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashavat. Amen. L'chaim. Oh, he's yeah. It's funny, I feel like he's always with me, but in this building, I feel like they're just like right here all the time because I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and I just feel like they're always just right here with me. So thanks for letting me bring them. If you have hamotzi foods at home, I we don't have bread right now, but we're going to join together, assuming you have not yet eaten, if you'd like to sing Motzi with us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you for being here, and thank you, everybody out there. Thank you, Patty, for making the Zoom situation work out, and thanks, everybody, for coming. And I hope it's a cozy and restful Shabbat for all of us. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm ready.